Everyone, welcome back to this lesson. In the last lesson, we look at two other methods of working with large objects, the truncate method um, as well as the sign method. And we saw how the truncate method deals with rounding of numbers to the nearest integer. So it will strip away all the floating points numbers at the back of the whole number and return the whole number. I will show an instance of what can be used in real life in the example that I gave, and also the sign number that gives that returns value between 0 and 1. So it could be negative 1 or positive 1. Does not matter the number that you give as the data to your uh, method. So moving away from that, let's look at another method. I'm going to be looking at three different methods in this video. And the first one is the math.power method. We are going to be looking at the math.square method and the square root method and math.absolute value method. So starting with the first one, the math.power method. The math.power method takes two arguments. You can see x and y. It returns the value of x to the power of y. So the normal way we do in traditional mathematics and say something like 2 raised to power 2, 4 raised to power 4, 6 raised to power 6, and so on and so forth. So in mathematics, in JavaScript, you can also perform that kind of action using the power method to achieve that. So the power method expects two arguments and you return the value of the first argument to the power of the second argument. So an example is this math.power 8 and 2. So which means that if you take this and if you raise it to power 2, so let's take a look in my code editor. So where we move to power, math.power. So 8 and 2. See 64, that means 8 times 8, 64. If I say 8 raised to power 8, so that is 8 times 8 in 8 places. You can see the result. So if I say in 70 places, you should have a large number. You can see it's almost a very infinite number, a very large number. That's why they are saying that infinity plus 63 at the back. So 8 raised to power 8 to power 7, you can see. So this is it. So if you take this first argument and then raise it to the power of the second argument, this is 2 times 2 in 6 places, and that is the output. So this is how the math.power works as a method with JavaScript math object. Then moving on from there, let's go to the math.square root. The math.square root takes just one argument and return the square root of x. So an example is math.square root 64. The math.square root of 25. What do you think will be the answer? 5. 64 will be 8. 100 will be. So I want to put 100. So 10. So this is the square root of 100. So it could be any number of 1,000. I think that will be 100. If I have 10,000, if I have 100,000, if I have 1 million, so that's 1,000. That's 1,000. So this is the square root method. It takes just one parameter and to return the square root of it. Now, moving on from that, we have the math.absolute method. The math.absolute method return the absolute positive value of x. So to return the positive value of a number. So, if you look at this example, math.absolute minus 12.7, what do you think would be the output? Let's take a look in my code editor so we know. Absolute minus 4.7. So it will return a positive 4.7. So which means that the math.absolute method will return the absolute positive value of the number. Now, if I now have a positive number, let's see what will happen. So let me take this change it to a positive number. So the positive will stay positive. So which means this is absolutely useful for when you have a negative value because it will return the absolute positive value of it. So 6.9.7, let me see it. It will be positive 9.7. Now, if I add positive 9.7, you still go to the positive 9.7. So the math absolute method return the absolute positive value of a number. So this is how the math vector method, the math the square root method, and the math the absolute method work in JavaScript. So take note of the fact, like I said in the previous lesson, that the math requires the capital N so that the JavaScript compiler will identify that this is a method, this is a method that needs to be passed, and to give you the right output. If you use a small letter, the compiler can mistakenly interpret it or see it as a variable, which will not give you a desired result at the end of the day. So this we have looked at in this lesson, and the next lesson will continue. Until then, I'll see you. Thank you.